Hello, and welcome to an exploratory episode of the Drywall Podcast. I am your host, Nick Harmon. With us today, we have Jay Delk of Delk Drywall out of Clarksville, Tennessee. Jay is a third-generation drywaller who was reluctant to jump into drywall and tried his hands at several different trades before landing back into the mud. We discuss his beginnings in the trades and how an accident surfing may have changed his perspective on life. Yeah.
And my wife was on Facebook and showing me Facebook neighborhood groups, where people are buying and selling. It's like Craigslist, but your immediate neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, man, we could make some money, on this place. Buy something, turn around, sell it. I made beef jerky. I would go fishing, catch fish, put them in bags and throw it up on the neighborhood group, fresh bluefin tuna, $20 a steak. And she would make ceviche. She would make, my wife's Hispanic, so, she'd make tamale plates and tamales around Christmas time. And
nice.
And finally, somebody was looking for somebody to come and patch drywall. And I can do it. I messaged, hey, I can do the drywall. And I went and did it the one time. Mitchell, that was their last name. And it was like a $50 job. And after that, she went on that group without even her asking me or saying anything. I didn't care that she did, but she went on there and, hey, just had Jay over at our house do drywall work. He does great work. If you need him, hit him up. And that's when just the light went off. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Jay struggled with his injuries due to an active lifestyle, but that hasn't slowed him down any. I was fortunate to get to work with Jay and host him for 3 days recently, where we made samples, we did bid work, and just overall had a great time. From surfing to motorsports to welding to drywall, we covered all on this, the 121st episode of the Drywall Podcast. Jay is a really cool guy, and he happened to have this extra super cool roller glide Can-Am tool that he had won, but he claims he does not use. And when he visited, he gave it to me, and he said specifically to give it away on the Drywall Podcast. So I'm going to be doing that. We are going to be giving away a roller glide tool to one lucky fan. I'm going to do it soon. Stay tuned and go to the Drywall Podcast Instagram page for more details on this ice bath giveaway. You can get a free tool. Why not? Today's episode of the Drywall Podcast was brought to you by Fresco Harmony, making walls better since 2004. You can find Fresco Harmony products at CSR, GWI in Swindon, England, a smattering of locations in the United States, and of course, www.frescoharmony.com. If you've been hearing about this Fresco Harmony stuff and you'd like to try some, reach out to me directly, info@frescoharmony.com, and I'll get you hooked up with a free sample pack. Guests of the Drywall Podcast will receive a sweet swag bucket from our friends at CSR, hopefully filled with all kinds of cool drywall goodies from those guys. You can get one of those just for coming on the show. Not to mention the pride and joy of being on the Drywall Podcast. If you're interested in coming onto the Drywall Podcast, reach out to me directly at info@frescoharmony.com or DM me on our Instagram page. But for now, Jay Delk crushes it on the 121st episode of the Drywall Podcast. Let's get into it. Can you? He's going in. Dude, I quit. I had to quit again.
Oh, quitter.
I know. We got Jay Delk. Seems like just yesterday that you and I were hanging out Jay made the pilgrimage to Albuquerque to learn a thing or two about Fresco Harmony. Uh, got me chewing a little bit again, but then I stopped. uh, you got to take part in a big project, and you've got kind of an interesting story because I would put Jay in the category of maybe stubborn drywall. Like you would be stubborn or challenging to maybe not as inclined to learn something, new or out of the box a little bit as maybe the next drywall, which most of us are pretty stubborn and set in our ways. You, though, we can talk about this, and then we can scooch back into when sort of some of your history, but you received a free Fresco Harmony colorant from CSR, right? Was it CSR?
Yeah, they were doing a giveaway a couple years ago on TikTok. My daughter told me to join TikTok to add music to my pictures and videos, and I did. And
there you go.
once you get the algorithm of, drywall and things you like, they just popped up. I didn't know about them, follow them, or anything. And they followed them, and they were doing a giveaway, a 7-day giveaway. So I entered for 7 days, hoping to get some tools, and I won Fresco Harmony. Yeah,
funny.
And
that's funny.
Got it shipped to me. So yeah, it
very
sat
cool
in my garage sale for about a year before I even touched it.
What was your initial thought? I wish I would have won something better.
Of course, we wanted tools. Yeah, what guy in the trades doesn't want tools?
Who knew though that you get to meet me eventually?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
everything happens for a reason.
That's right. That's pretty funny. But you said that it sat around. You didn't try it out for a while, but you had a specific thing where you were like, for some reason, you had seen it and you were like, I'm gonna give that stuff a try. And
it sat for about a year, and that's when my wife said to me that I did Venetian plaster, and we moved to Tennessee, and I did our bathroom ceiling in California with the Venetian plaster, and we were getting the house and doing things to it here, and she said she wanted that. So I go, well, I got this stuff that somebody mailed me, and
yeah,
I just looked at it and started doing my research. So yeah, phone calls, text messages, watching lots of YouTube videos, reading. I did my research for 2 years before I actually did it. Yeah. And I didn't do a sample board or nothing. I just went straight to my bathroom ceiling, and I went for it. And first pass, I was sold.
Yeah, I think I remember you like doing it and being real jazzed about it. You made a video and you posted, and you were pretty stoked about it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very cool. We'll get into more of the Fresco and your visit in a bit, but I always dive into like, how did you get into the trade? Were you first generation?
Third generation.
Okay. Third generation.
My grandfather did it. My uncle has learned some things from him, worked with him over the years as, a kid, going with him to jobs and just watching him. And I always wanted to be like my Uncle Tim.
Yeah.
And he's still around. Just talked to him today, as a matter of fact. So
Uncle Tim.
Uncle Tim, he's the man.
Uncle Tim. Very cool. And what was the name of that company? That was not your dad's company. That was your uncle's company?
My uncle, he worked for, how it is in the trades. When one job ends, you go and work for somebody else. I don't think he did have his own business, but, it was just, working for other people, but not like how I'm doing it.
Right.
He didn't have, social media to advertise. Back then it was, the penny saver and the newspaper and word of mouth, was getting those jobs. But today it's a lot easier getting it with, the social media and whatnot. So
can be. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're pretty crafty with the videos. You kind of like making videos on YouTube and whatnot.
I don't do YouTube, just TikTok. I'll go over to TikTok. Well, they canceled all the music, all AMG, I guess, got rid of the rights to add your music to TikTok videos. So I'll go and make a TikTok video on mute, and then I'll take it over to Facebook and make a reel and add my music to that, and then save it, and then take that to TikTok to have the music with the videos or
Okay.
the pictures.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of live videos. I'll just take pictures of everything.
So
And then
you never edited video or put
never.
until TikTok.
Yeah, they pretty much. I wouldn't be able to do it on my own. TikTok
Interesting.
has everything, the tools to just CapCut. That's one that has all the different
Yeah.
things. So you just go to that and do it, and just add your stuff to it. So they make it very easy
Yeah.
for a guy like
Okay.
myself.
All right. All right. So if you're out there and you haven't made videos or explored TikTok a little bit, don't be scared. If Jay can do it, you could do it.
Yeah, if I can do
Um,
it, anybody can.
sure. Okay. So you are working with Tim a little bit. Your grandpa's a drywall finisher. You jump in with your dad at that time. How old are
Uh-huh.
you?
My dad was a painter.
Your dad
So
painter.
yeah, my dad was a painter. He painted houses, and he painted naval ships. So he didn't mess with drywall. When I was out of high school, my buddies did concrete, so I wanted to do concrete work, set forms. So I joined the union,
That's right.
did that for a while, and then just drywall. I've done it, since probably out of high school, side jobs, patch this, mud that.
Well,
And
wait
when
a second.
concrete got slow,
You liked working with Tim doing drywall finishing.
yeah, that's
Why
when I
did
got
you?
older.
Why did you? Oh, that's when you got. That was after the concrete.
Yeah,
Okay, so
well, kind
concrete
of about the
was
same
like
time.
out of high school. You were doing concrete.
Yeah,
Yeah. How'd you like concrete?
I liked it. We did big stuff.
Yeah.
Bridges, high-rise buildings, parking structures, water treatment plants. Yeah, it was definitely neat to form something up, that
Totally.
was gigantic. And then, when it was all over with, you look at it and you're like, wow, I helped build that. There's some
Totally.
hard workers there, iron workers and
Yeah.
carpenters. They're definitely some hard-working guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a
I've
lot of
always kind
respect for them.
of appreciated like concrete, especially like now that they're doing like countertops and like some of that stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, that looks really cool. Sinks, you get the sink going and
Oh,
it
yeah.
looks cool,
Yeah.
but yeah, very cool. So you did concrete for a little while, but then you switched over to drywall. How old were you around that time? Or maybe you're doing both?
I did both. I would work from 7 to 3 Monday through Friday, and after I get off work, I'd go do drywall work. Weekends, there's nights I'd work till 9 o'clock at night. Going and taping a house or texturing a house. In California, everything's textured.
That's right. You were in California and you were like a semi, we talked a little bit, you were like a pro surfer guy. You were like
Not a
way,
pro.
way into surfer,
I wish.
semi-pro maybe.
No, I didn't get that far. I wanted
Not even
to.
got that far.
No, I quit college to go surf full time,
You were
and
telling me
then
a
be
funny
sick.
story about your like your mom you would get in trouble because of your school. Was it the
Yeah.
grades? Or like you get in
Probably.
trouble and then she'd take your surfboard, so you would stash
Yeah.
surfboards around the
Yeah.
county. You could just go
Yeah.
grab a surfboard and go surfing.
Yeah. Yeah. I could go to the beach, but I couldn't surf. So my mom, beat my butt and put me on restriction. Didn't work because I would just pester her, to
Uh-huh.
go outside. And finally, she would just have enough and just get out of here. So yeah, I could go to the beach, but I couldn't surf. So when I'd say, "Hey, I'm going to the beach," she would go in the room and count the boards and, "All right, see you later." And I did that for years. For years, I did that behind my mother's back. And then, yeah, in 1996, I broke my neck surfing.
Right. How did you break your neck?
surf and shore break on Mother's
Okay.
Day. Yeah.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Surfing shore break.
Shore break when the tide is high, the waves will break closer to shore. There's a good surf spot in California called the Wedge, and it's about 4 feet deep of water. I mean, there's guys that have died there, broken backs, broken necks. It's a very popular shore break. It's just the wave breaks close to shore.
Yeah.
Instead of far out there.
And you broke your neck. You broke your neck.
Yeah.
Crazy. And you do you have complications from that accident?
Yeah, I was out for about a year on that, and yeah, that just changed my life. For the worst. I went down the wrong path of depression and hanging out with the wrong people, and doing drugs and partying and chasing girls, and then had my first son. Right before I had my first son, I got back into it, and I still had it, and so I was like, all right, I can still do this. I think I was like 22, 23.
Yeah,
and I can still do this, and I had my son, and it was either take care of your son or surf and party. I chose my son.
Smart. How old's your son? Do you have multiple children?
Yeah, we have 3. So my
Three.
oldest is 25. That's Jeremiah, and second is Tyler. He's 20, and then our daughter Avery. She's 11. She'll be 12 in May.
Cool. And all the same mom or different moms? How'd that work out?
My oldest is with a previous Tyler, my wife's son. He's with he has a different dad, but his dad hasn't been in his life, and I've been his dad, and he calls me dad. I call him son. I don't call him stepson. He's my son. So, I told him no matter what happens between me and your mom, I'm your dad for the rest of my life.
Very cool. Very cool.
He's the one that worked with me. He's real good at taping.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Very cool. And then daughter 11. She's young.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she wasn't planned.
Sure. Happy accident. Very cool. So you are getting how's the segue from concrete back over to drywall? How did that happen?
I just got too old, swinging a hammer, and just injuries over the years from just going reckless, dirt bike accident, had a couple surgeries on my foot. And the neck injury isn't bad. I really don't have any issues with that.
Cool.
More with the foot, arthritis, carpal tunnel syndrome. So I was at the doctor today and told him I want to get my surgery for my foot around the holidays this year, because the damage is done and there's no more fixing it. So I'm just going to fuse my foot so it doesn't move, because I'm just bone on bone, grinding away 18 years of walking on steel, walking on stilts, walking on benches. It's just the pain is pretty unbearable.
Yeah, you got to do a fairly sizey lid when you were here in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
That was a fatty.
Yeah.
All you guys went home and went to bed.
Yeah, we did. And then the benches that you use are different than the benches I use. And then not having my tools.
Sure.
So it made it a little awkward. The second day, I was more familiar with, a new knife. And
if you guys are listening, I had 2 roller parries and nobody used the roller parries, which blew my mind. People would rather climb up and down on the ladder or the bench than just get on a roller parry and just roll around on that. Why would you prefer to do a ceiling off of like a ladder versus a roller parry?
Well, when I do like ceilings, now that I can't walk on stilts, as a matter of fact, I ordered a pair of stilts, and then it went 2 days, and I'm going, man, I have a hard time walking I got the 15-inch stilts, like,
Yeah.
I think you were telling me that you can get the 12-inch ones, and I instantly
The
went to
little, yeah.
Amazon and found 15-inch, and I'm like, and then I go, and I can't walk normally, so I'm gonna buy these things, put them on, and I'm gonna fall and hurt myself. And I'm like, I don't need any more pain added
Right.
to the
Fair
list of
enough.
pain that I already have. But I just line up benches. I've got 4 or 5 benches, and I'll line them all up. I have it down. But your bench, the one that you have is, I had one of those years and years ago, but I've got those gorilla benches that are, 4 or 5 inches. They stack in my truck nice. I can put
Yeah.
them all in there. Once I get them lined up, for a job, I can, hit everything. I know where
Okay.
they're at, so it's just more comfortable for me for doing it for,
Yeah.
for a
We were
while.
just talking about how different it's challenging to work out of state for a number of
Yeah.
reasons. But like when you don't have any of your own stuff, you had to go buy,
Yeah.
you gave
Yeah.
Jesse like your pan and knife.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could have loaned you a pan and knife. I've got a couple, but it's all good, man. And then we did some other stuff. But going back to the story, so you worked with your uncle's business?
Just with him off and on, he'd worked, he did jobs where an investor would buy a house, and they would, remodel it, and then they would flip it. That
Yeah.
was before he moved. That was in California, and then he did a few of those. I think they did some like pizza stores, and then he left and went back to Iowa, and I just, back in the union, swinging a hammer, and I got laid off in 2 weeks before Christmas on my oldest son's birthday. I think in '08, '09, and I couldn't find any work. I mean, nothing. So
Yeah.
I called him, and I can't find any work, and he's like, "Come out here. There's tons of work." And got on a plane on a Wednesday night, got into Omaha, Nebraska, probably like midnight, and we were working the next day at 6. So yeah,
Nice.
he always kept me busy if I needed work. He knows everybody in the trades, and he's very he knows a lot about, just construction period. He's a
Yeah.
framer,
This
a
was
hanger, a taper.
this was Nebraska, huh? At the
Well, he's
time.
in Iowa. He's in
Iowa.
Iowa, right outside of Council Bluffs. It's just right on the other side of the Missouri River of Omaha, Nebraska. So I mean, he's 45 minutes an hour from Omaha.
Okay. And you lived and worked there. What was the name of that company?
It was just for him, word of mouth. It
Okay.
wasn't a company.
All right.
I think his company was under construction was what he had a company. But then, his work got slow, and I went and worked for a company that installed grain bins and grain elevators on farms. So I
Okay.
didn't know nothing about corn or soybeans and farming,
Yeah.
and I was there for 2 years and learned everything about it. But I got to do some concrete with them, learned how to weld, which was
Cool.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You didn't want to
yeah,
get into you didn't want to get into welding at all, huh?
I did. As a matter of fact, when I came back after about 2 years in Iowa, I came back just being homesick and missing my son. Still, construction was dead. And my stepdad had a girl at his work. Her husband worked for a company called Trench Plate Rental. And so they delivered the steel plates that covered trenches on streets. They had shoring. So I got a job doing deliveries, driving a stake bed truck and delivering shoring, unloading, loading all by hand. And they started out at $11 an hour. So I went making from 30 something bucks an hour, in the
Eee.
union, and there's nothing. There was nothing.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of overtime. That's where the welding, I transferred yards. So I went from LA to Orange County, And then I started doing the welding there. So if I wasn't
Yeah.
driving, I was making rock plates, welding trench boxes. So I actually liked welding. It was
Yeah.
cool. It was neat. Yeah.
Interesting. So how
Yeah.
do we how do we get over to drywall? You're like you're doing welding, you're sort of floundering around, but then yeah, you're in
Always
Iowa.
did the drywall. Yeah. Came back from Iowa. Did
So
that for
you've always had that background. You could go do
Jay
patches and
knows Jay does drywall. So,
yeah.
anybody that, hey, I got your number from such and such, said you know how to do drywall. I got this, needs to be done. Sure, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always drywall was always just was always there. If anybody ever needed something, it's like with my uncle, Tim the taper, So when
Yeah.
people needed drywall work done, I was the guy. And just letting it be known on social media, when that time when there was no work, I'm advertising myself, on Facebook. Hey, anybody need drywall work done? Hit me
Yeah.
up. And yeah, I got it. It was slow, but it didn't go full swing. I started working for another company back into the concrete, Ecadol Concrete. And we were doing multi-million-dollar homes in California at the beach.
Yeah.
So there they, have all these houses stacked, and an investor, somebody would come by the house, they would demo it. Well, they can't build up because of the views of the ocean. So
Yeah.
they would dig down and we would just build big basements all out of concrete and then, build a big, beautiful home, big, beautiful homes. There
Oh.
wasn't one house that I could not either stand on the sand or not see the ocean from. So it was neat.
Yeah.
But again, it was hard work, it beat me up, physically, especially like with my foot. I just couldn't take it anymore. And when we had our daughter, I just quit, you know.
Yeah.
And my wife was on Facebook and showing me Facebook neighborhood groups, where people are buying and
Yeah.
selling. It's like Craigslist, but your immediate neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, man, we could make some money, on this place. Buy something, turn around, sell it. I made beef jerky. I would go fishing, catch fish, put them in bags and throw it up on the neighborhood group. Fresh bluefin tuna, $20
Uh-huh.
a steak, and she would make ceviche. She would make my wife's Hispanic, so she'd make tamale plates and tamales around Christmas time, and
Nice.
then finally, somebody was looking for somebody to come and patch drywall, and I can do it. I messaged, hey, I can do the drywall, and I went and did it the one time. Mitchell, that was their last name, and it was like a $50 job. And after that, she went on that group without even her asking me or saying anything. I didn't care that she did, but she went on
Mm-hmm.
there and hey, just had Jay over at our house do drywall work. He does great work. If you need him, hit him up. And that's when just the light went off. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I just slowly, started doing that. And, I think I was still doing the concrete. And then people would message and I go, I can't get to your house till 4 in the afternoon or this Saturday. And
Okay.
just it went off and running with it. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
That's
And
how,
then maybe it got so busy that you were able to leave your concrete job.
yeah. That's when, where I had quite a few jobs lined up. And finally I just, couldn't take the pain and work was local. I was driving, an hour and a half, no traffic in the morning doing the concrete work. And then finally it took off. And recommendations, the word of mouth, having people go on my page and write reviews.
Yeah.
So California was a lot more the legal side of, being licensed and insured. It's a lot more expensive. You got to
Yeah.
go through so I just did, just drywall repair work, and of course I had bigger jobs, but I built a name for myself that, nobody asked, to see a license or, I had insurance. I had a handyman license,
Right.
so I could do small work, but I didn't take on, big stuff because I didn't have the manpower. I
Yeah.
never went and hung an entire house or taped in. I have taped entire houses, smaller homes, textured all of
Yeah.
it, but yeah,
Or if they wanted to wait, I mean, people can wait too, sometimes
people
if they're,
waited.
if you're
People that knew
good.
me, they waited. Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't care. Even the jobs I didn't want to do, it'd be 10 grand. All right, well,
Mhm.
when can you do it? In 3 years. All right, put us down. Dang.
Right.
We had
Nice.
those jobs.
Oh my goodness. Very cool. And you said though, did we talk about like you've got like a sugar mama? Did we talk about that? You got like a little sugar mama over there.
The wife, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
he takes real good care of me. Yeah, I'm a
Hey,
very
no
lucky
shame.
guy.
No shame, Jay.
None, none at
None.
all.
But
She
no,
says
Jay,
that.
I worked with Jay. Jay is a hard worker. You like to be busy. I could tell.
Yeah,
Like, this is a
yeah,
guy that's not stagnant, man. It wouldn't matter if you had $1 billion. I think Jay would be out doing something.
yeah, yeah.
Very
Fishing
cool.
and hunting. If we lived in California, I think I could, retire and fish full time. But out
Hmm.
here in Tennessee, it's a drive to do the trout fishing. And
Okay.
then hunting season is, it's October to January. So
You like to hunt. And what do you hunt?
yeah, deer, whitetail deer, archery.
Whitetail deer. Archery.
Yeah,
Okay, very
yeah.
cool. How do you get from Tennessee to from Iowa to Tennessee? How did that happen?
Well, we Iowa back to California. Met my wife. Uh, we got a house. We had our daughter, and uh,
So you were back in Cali a
2000
little bit doing the concrete foundations stuff. Okay.
from California. In our house, we got it in 2012. 2020, my wife, she told me about our property tax and how much it had gone up
Hmm.
for our house. And
Yeah.
I'm like, 20, 30 years, we'll be homeless, because I think our property tax went up like $5,000 over a span of 9 years.
What a
And
deal. What a good deal to own a home.
right. So we, her brother lives out here and, just heard good things. And kid that used to help me out from time to time, he was stationed here at Fort Campbell. And
Okay.
he's like, check out Clarksville. And we, we came out in February of 2021. We checked out the Knoxville area of Tennessee. Didn't like it too much, so we wanted to be around a military town since my wife was, she was just ending her career in the Army. And Fort Campbell's a huge Army base. And so we packed up and we took off. We rented for a year and we bought our forever home 3 years ago. So,
Okay.
yeah, we moved
Nice.
in May 5th of 2021. So February, came back to California, got our house ready, put it on the market, had probably like 25 offers on the first
Yeah.
open house.
Yeah. That was
And
a good time. Good time to sell.
it was a great time.
Yeah.
Sold our house, and 2 weeks before we moved here, we didn't have a place to rent because at that time everything was just nuts with the market. And I mean, you couldn't get anything. And
Still is. Like still is kind of
yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah. And so my buddy Braden, his wife worked for a property management company, and she hooked us up, and we did a sight unseen and paid a year's worth of rent up front. And I just got the ball rolling. I had a way of getting work advertising on neighborhood Facebook groups. And once I was in Facebook jail for the first 30 days for running my mouth. So
Talking
we
trash
got,
to other, were you talking trash to other drywallers?
No. Just just telling people, what I really thought, you know.
Political stuff,
Oh,
right, Jay? You're doing the political
yeah,
stuff. You're getting into the political.
absolutely,
You got to watch it, dude.
absolutely.
They'll shut you down. They'll shut you down for speaking your
Yeah.
mind. Those guys are finishing up today.
Oh yeah.
Or no, tomorrow morning. Yeah, they're sealing the bathroom,
All right. So you did do
and then
the bathroom.
they're both headed out.
Right.
Yeah, I came up with a plan for the with the tile guy. I'll tell you about it. No, she was talking about doing Dawson's office. And Robbie was in there, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna start the floor tile on Friday." And we were finishing up that main room, and then the floor guys called, like that we're gonna do the kitchen. Or Dawson called me, and he was like, "Hey, can the floor guys get in there Saturday?" I'm like, "No, dude." You said Monday, and we're like, poor, Jesse and Mike are working Saturday and Sunday, to get it done.
Right.
They ended up getting it done. We all second coated and sealed that ceiling off of stilts, which is pretty slick. A lot of work, man. That ceiling was an ass kicker. So Robbie and I were talking, and I was like, "Let's do that bathroom next week, man."
Yeah.
Do pull out of there. It'd be way better to do that bath. I don't want to get in there and do all that, prep work. So yeah, they had an hour of prep in that pile of crap, or a day, where they fiber fused it and then they base coated on yesterday, second coated today, and they're sealer tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw Jesse's videos. Yeah, those are good guys, man. When we're doing that ceiling,
they are.
It's not having my tools, not having my benches.
Yeah.
And just those guys are, on stilts, and I think Mike was on the ferry. But yeah, those guys jam. They're good. They're real good. I like them.
They're pretty good.
With them. They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll meet him. Maybe I'll get some time he's coming out to Nashville. So
that's what I heard.
Hopefully, yeah, we can talk politics.
You're getting in there. You're getting in there, Jay, with all these wacky drywallers, man. You know what? There's a bunch of them, and they're all fun and just a great group of people. So
that's the best part about it.
Yeah, you experienced sort of what I've been talking about a little bit on the Drywall Podcast, where if you get out of your shell a little bit, come do an adventure. It was just serendipitous that you were down here the same time as those guys, but you guys got to stay together. I hooked them up with an Airbnb that was really good rate. They ended up staying in that Airbnb. The next person canceled, so they're still there in that big house.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. And
they're easy guys to work with. They're easy guys to live with. And me, almost 50 years old, just getting out of my comfort zone and getting away, from the family and my bed. I was telling you, I got a little OCD, so things are off. Everything was off, but just you, them, the guys working, Rob and the other guy at the house, and the homeowners. I think they made up for it. So the anxiety and stuff just didn't kick in. Yeah. But I definitely had a great time. I would do that.
Good.
I'd do it again. I definitely
cool. Yeah.
Guys.
So I'm curious too, because there's been a few people, and I have sort of an open door policy in that if somebody is interested in coming to Albuquerque to learn Fresco Harmony, I don't feel like, a traditional plaster training, they'll have people come, you make samples, you're in sort of a studio setting, you learn a bunch of different techniques, you pay money. So most instances, you pay to come here, you pay for your own place, you pay for your, airfare, you pay for your rental car, like all that stuff. I'm under the impression that if you come here and you want to learn, you can get on the job training. Jesse and Mike are making a wage. You got to work a day, but then Jay and I hung out in the studio. We made a sample. You kind of wanted to see some stuff. You learned some behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
And you got a day on the job where you're like, doing a whole
Yeah.
ceiling that was an ass kicker.
Yeah.
So you got
Yeah.
that, you got a really round experience of training that like you don't get from doing a normal training session where you're just sitting in sort of a studio.
Well, I
And
think
super valuable.
I think with like with concrete work, like form setting, you can go to school, you can read books, but most important is on the job training with other
Yeah.
guys. When it comes
Yeah.
to mud work, that's my favorite part of doing drywall is
Yeah.
the mud work. That's not a you can watch YouTube videos all day long. You can read books, but being hands-on with guys that are willing to show you their tricks of the trade. Over the years, you work with a bunch of different guys, and a lot of those guys aren't willing to show you anything. Oh, young little punk. When I
Yeah.
was growing
Yeah.
up and learning, I see my uncle do things. And then when I would work for companies, there'd be the old guy that was always mad, and I'd make him laugh, and we'd
Yeah.
be pals. Comedy and laughter is the best way to get in with anybody.
Sure.
And I learned a lot over the years from them old timers that were willing to show you. And honestly, like learning about Fresco, if you can mud, you probably can do Fresco. But the whole purpose of my trip going there was to know more about you, the product itself, see how it's made, how it's done, how it
Yeah.
developed, everything that you talked to me about. I learned so much from going there. And then working with those guys, I watched Mike do the bullnose in that skylight, and I'm like, yeah, Tennessee doesn't have any bullnose. So, I want to watch, and then listening to you show him. And then on that last day, when we were in that bedroom, I grabbed that tool and I did the bullnose. But the thing about it was that the lip on the edge of that window wasn't big enough for that tool.
Mm.
So
No.
I would use part of it, but then on the inside of it, I had to, take a knife and scoot it. So I
Yeah.
wanted to ask Jesse and them guys, how it looked. I thought it looked okay for the base coat,
Yeah.
or that was the second coat, wasn't it?
Yeah. I sealed it. Looked great. Yeah. It turned out
All
good.
right, cool. Yeah, it was definitely time consuming because
Hmm.
I'm my worst critic, and so
Yeah.
and I wanted to make it look good enough for not only you but those guys too, because
Oh
something
yeah.
could come
It
up in the
looked good.
future. You want Jay to come help? You're like, hell no, that guy can't do bullnose.
She was happy with that room. It turned out good.
Yeah. Now it's
Yeah.
first time using sand.
Yeah.
Definitely a difference, doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so if you're listening, we were using silica sand in the second coat, Patterson Snow with silica sand, and you just get and also mud skip. So we were using mud
yeah,
skip, which added it added like a dimension of the finish that was different than normal. So the mud would go off a little bit quicker. It was a little thicker. It covered the texture a little better. And then the
yeah,
second coat, when I was putting on the sealer over the second coat with the level 5 smooth mud skip in it, I noticed it laying down a little better. There were some subtle differences that I noticed. It's a little extra money if you're using mud skip in your finish. I'm still vetting. The guys are using the conditioner on the bathroom, so they're testing out the conditioner. So I'm still in communication with the mud skip people, and we're talking and just talking about the product and how it can enhance colored mud, how my product could help their product, their product can help my product, all that good stuff,
definitely.
and just trying to learn, trying to be open.
Yeah,
It might
yeah,
not be for everybody, but like it might be for some people. It might operate differently with regular finishing drywall versus Fresco Harmony. So Fresco Harmony is a little different, application. But what made you want to? Uh, what about Fresco Harmony made you want to come here? Because you planned on coming to Albuquerque for a few months. You were like, I'm going to come there. We're going to do a podcast, which we didn't get to sit down and do a podcast while you were here, which is fine. But you wanted to come here and learn about Fresco. Why?
I'm a person that I want to know what I'm talking about when I'm talking to a customer. When they have questions, that was all my questions before I even started, bringing it to the public here in Tennessee, was
Right.
that there's going to be questions that a customer is going to ask, and I want to be able to answer them instead of, well, let me get back to you. Because then if you're doubting, yourself and the product, they're going to be hesitant to want to hire you. Like, this guy don't know nothing about, what he's doing, but he says he could do it. So I wanted more knowledge of the product, the background of it, so I can just sell it. It's just what sells is when they touch it. The sampleable is what sells it. I went and I sold one today. I'm going to show one tomorrow with the colors that you can send me. I'm going to go and talk to a possible customer about that one tomorrow morning. So yeah. It's just knowing what you're talking about,
Yeah, and you're not going to know everything. There's sort of a lot to know, a lot of stuff. It's just like you learn as you go. Especially with patching, you can get good at patching if you do a lot of Fresco. You're going to inevitably go and have to do patching. We looked at a couple patches. You got to do a ride along and check a job. That job that you looked at, she okayed the bid, done in the books. She's going to come to the office, check out, and you saw too that she was like, oh, I want to come see it. That's very typical. So you having like walls in your own house or an office that are done where somebody can come check it out, that's huge because that'll sell it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Do no justice. It's how you word things.
Right.
Like when I advertise for it on, my weekly advertisements on these groups here in town. It's lighting, the pictures. There's jobs that I've done that's just the lighting is horrible.
Yeah.
I didn't save the pictures. I was thinking about hiring a professional photographer, to do just great pictures because one, it's going to grab somebody's eye, and then how I word things, the painting, sanding, like with the popcorn ceilings. Tennessee is nothing but popcorn ceilings.
Yeah.
And, I'm scraping popcorn ceilings and skim coating them with just regular mud.
Yeah.
Or shooting texture.
Yeah.
And when I talked to you that one time, like, how are you getting more of this work? And you told me, you said, you just have to tell them that you're paying this much a foot to have it removed, to skim coated or textured. Then you're paying this much to have it primed and painted.
Yeah.
When you put all that into one, that is what the big jump in sales, for me has done.
Yeah.
So, I just let customers know that this is that's the selling point. For me is just letting people know that, this is your better option. One, because, you're getting rid of the ugly popcorn in your home. Two, it's something that's just going to look great. And three, you don't have to hire the painter to come and paint.
Yeah.
So that is that. And then the sample board is how it all sells. So I got everything the way that I need it now from, just talking to you over the years of just learning everything from you. I wouldn't be able to do any of this, even like with Venetian plaster, I didn't have somebody that I could call or message and ask these questions because before I do something, I want to have everything, I'm prepared, before I start something. And, we still learn, from mistakes. I've had the one mistake where, I wet the ceiling and I did the base coat. And then the next day, the ceiling was starting to, fade that yellow color. And I called customers and told them that day I lost one job. The other two or three, they're still on board. In fact, I'm doing one right now. I started that one yesterday. So I got the base coat in the bathrooms. I dry scraped the popcorn, and then I skin coated it with just regular mud. So tomorrow I'm going to do the base coat in the main portion of the house. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the way to do it. And to tell them, like, when I go into a popcorn situation, it's like I only do Fresco. Like, if you want it smooth finished and painted, you can get a bid, call somebody else. Because it's easier. I don't want to sand. I don't want to mess with blah blah blah. I'm just going to do it the way I do it, and people have their own system around it. Very cool.
It's just fun to do. It's fun. I really do. Ceiling work for me it's more challenging to me now over all the years, because I mean, I could, come in after a plumber has just taken a hammer to a ceiling, or they hired a landscaper to try to patch something on their ceiling and it's got, a knockdown or a hand texture, or I call it a roll and stomp, crow's foot. But to go in there to make it look like it was never there, especially on a ceiling is what I really do enjoy. The pain, it kicks my butt pain wise, but when it's all done and over with, I had the before and after pictures, like, wow, and I showed you the voicemail from that customer. That's to me, it's about money, somewhat, but when it's all done and over with and they look at it and it's a huge thank you, and oh my God, this looks so good. And that's what keeps me to keep doing this work, because of that. But
absolutely,
repair work and texturing is it's just easy. The Fresco is, I'm pretty confident that I can take on any job doing Fresco. Now I know how to do sand. I know how to do bullnose corners.
Yeah, the sand's cool, right? It's pretty cool. It's cool finish.
I think I didn't make one with sand. I took your advice and got a sheet of masonite and cut it all up, and I just did my top coat on it today.
Nice.
That's one thing I got to do, is one with sand. I've got plenty of pieces left. So I think doing a job with sand and then patching are probably the only two things that I haven't done yet.
Patching's weird too. I don't blow smoke up anyone's butt too. It's patching, man. When you have a multicolor surface, there are challenges to patching, whether it's Venetian plaster or Fresco Harmony or faux finishing or even smooth finish. I mean, level 5 smooth finish can be a pain to patch, if you don't know what you're doing. Yeah.
I'm gonna do the patch at my house. I'm gonna change the one wall. I did the Galtiero. How do you say it?
Galtiero steel. Yeah.
Galtiero steel. I have that in our dining room, kitchen area, and at my front door. So I think I'm going to do Dave's Midnight, the black, and then I think I'm going to put black pearl swirl through it.
There you go.
The black pearl or smoke top coat on that. So I'm still deciding, but
going black.
I want to put my wife painted all of our doors black, our fireplace is black.
Cool.
So I mean, it goes perfect, but I want to go a little bit darker.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to just put a hole in that wall and just try my patchwork on it first, So
smart.
I don't want to go into somebody's home, and maybe I can. No, when I walk into somebody's house, I'm confident that I can do it. I don't take on things that I don't know how to do.
Right.
I get a lot of people that, you don't paint. I'm like, I'm the world's worst painter, but I could tell you everything there is about painting.
Yeah.
From my dad and painters and everybody, just over the years. But yeah, I don't take on more than I could chew.
Very cool.
Fresco,
very cool. It was fun. I appreciate you coming down here, and plus we each other a little better.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool. You're getting to know Chad and some of his crew over there,
Oh yeah.
and it just keeps unraveling. There's people from all over the country, and it's fun to hang out with drywallers.
Yeah.
If you had a pearl of wisdom that you could bestow on the drywall community, what would you say?
You gotta love it. You have to love it. Um, if you don't love it, that's with anything that you do. If you wake up, I think we were talking about that with the guys there. If you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, God, I don't want to go to work, you shouldn't be
Hmm.
doing it. When I
Totally.
wake up in the morning, especially Fresco jobs, I mean, I really can't sleep, the night before because I'm excited to go and to do this job, even after all
Yeah.
these years, all the other guys are ready to quit and retire. Like, I don't want to quit. I don't want to retire because I love drywall work.
Yeah.
I love doing mud work. And now that, I have Fresco in my life, it's just opened up a whole new, you know,
Yeah.
spectra of,
Yeah.
something new to me. That's a challenge. And it's just not a wall, like there you go. You see 1,000 walls that have been taped.
Yeah.
But with this one and every color that I do, I'm like, oh, this is my favorite color.
Sure.
Every single color I've done, I'm like, this is my favorite color. This is my favorite color. But anybody in the trades, drywall, you got to love it. You have to love it.
Yeah.
And if you don't love it, don't do it. Find something that you love, and listen to the older guys because they know what they're talking about, mixing your pan with the 2-inch putty knife, you know. That's what I learned from the old guy. And
That was an
you
old
know,
guy trick, huh?
that was an old guy trick because
Very
one, you're
cool.
not going to get it all over the place, and it works. I just stuck with it. So yeah,
Well, we had a good time. Jay came down here. We hung out. Jesse Loss and Mike Drees were down here hanging out. They stayed in an Airbnb and we had a little adventure. We didn't go crazy on the social media, probably as much as we could have or should have, but
should have done the briefcase.
yeah, next time, man. I get stressed when I'm like on this job and I've got all this stuff going on. The
Yeah,
sealer, you got to see some of my stress of like,
yeah,
I'm like worried about this like
yep,
weird shit that like people don't even think
yep,
that I worry about, but I'm like running a business. I'm trying to get products. I'm trying to like,
yep.
get products to the companies and it's challenging and I love it. I do love it too, as well. Like you're talking about your pearl of wisdom. I like doing the fresco. I'm like at a point now where I'm like, God, I wish, Chad's in the sweet spot. He's drumming up all this fresco work. And I mean, that's nice to just go and do fresco. You make a good premium wage. It's good
Mhm.
work. It's not quite as hard as drywall finishing. Definitely
Mhm.
rewarding. And,
Very rewarding.
you get to just sort of do that, and it's
Yeah,
fun. Yeah.
yeah.
So
That's part. It's fun to do.
yeah,
You
yeah.
work with guys that you can, y'all can talk smack to each other all day
Totally
long.
talk smack all day. We talked a lot of smack. Those guys in that bathroom too, I got to pull off and they're like just doing the bathroom. So, it's
Yeah.
this week's been I'm like
Yep.
getting my feet back under me. We're gonna get your color out to you. Can't wait to see that Santorini.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Santorini and then
Yep.
Midnight Dave. Beautiful, beautiful colors. Yeah, they're so Santorini is like this, like it's like well, Santorini, Greece. So it makes me think of that's actually a place in Greece. It makes me think of like that tea, like the water, like the hyper blue water. It's kind of like that. It's
Yep.
very, very
Yep.
pretty blue. It's a triple color
Yep.
pack. Your experience in California, becoming a welder, a mason, or not a mason, but a concrete finisher, a drywall finisher. You're well rounded.
Yep.
If people want to reach out to Jay Delk, you do a lot of TikTok videos. What's your handle
Yep.
on TikTok?
Delk Drywall Repair.
Delk Drywall Repair, and then no YouTube.
No, Facebook, Delk Drywall, my page, Delk Drywall Repair.
Okay, and yeah, out of Clarksville.
Clarksville, we're about 40 minutes outside of west of Nashville, right on the Kentucky state line.
Very cool. And next time we hang out, we'll probably have another chew. But I need to quit for a little while. I can't do that shit. It makes me crazy. But next time, buddy. Next time. We'll do it. Thank you so much for coming on the Drywall Podcast today. You get a free swag bucket from CSR. That's kind of cool. And yeah, your It's Your Man Cam shirt.
Yeah.
The 3X size is coming. We've got some 3Xs coming in, and I've got some other shirts going out. But I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, man.
I appreciate it, and thank you for everything, Nick.
Yeah, we'll talk soon, buddy.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Later.
Bye-bye.
Huge shout out to Jay for being on the Drywall Podcast today. I really appreciate it. Also, thanks for coming down to Albuquerque and hanging out for a few days and learning about Fresco Harmony. I love having people down to Albuquerque. If you're interested in that, reach out to me at info@frescoharmony.com and let's set it up, man. Also, a reminder that we will be doing a giveaway for this Roller Glide Can-Am tool on the Drywall Podcast Instagram page. Head over there now for more information on that. We'll probably be doing that next week. The Drywall Podcast can be listened to on your favorite platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, Podbean, Google Podcasts, and you can also watch this entire episode on YouTube, believe it or not. Tune in next week as we have Dieter Kitzel out of Regina, Saskatchewan. I've known Dieter for quite a while, and he's been up to some cool stuff with the company Comey. They make plaster tools and now drywall tools out of Italy. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for joining us on the Drywall Podcast today. I sincerely appreciate it. I'm not just saying that, I genuinely do. Yeah, keep tuning in. You guys keep tuning in, and I will keep doing shows. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and remember, keep drywalling.